Das LIGNA Journal vom 8. Mai 2013. Live von der LIGNA zum Thema: Ist die handwerkliche Fensterherstellung in Deutschland noch wettbewerbsfähig?
Herzlich willkommen.
Welcome to our program here in Hall 16 at the halftime of the LIGNA 2013. Our top theme today is window production by craftsmen still competitive in Germany? A question we are going to be discussing in the next few minutes. Maybe we'll be able to find some solutions here. I am really looking forward to you being here, and also that we have an expert here, the chief editor for the magazine DDS, the magazine for furniture and interior construction, Hans Graffé. Welcome. Hello. Yes, the title in the program, we're already talking about craftsmen, and right at the beginning I would like to ask, can you actually divide between industry and trade? Yes, well, that is actually a good question, because it is getting more and more difficult to separate the two. We now have small producers today that have very defined processes in their companies, but actually produce more or less industrially. So a 10-person company can, with the right technology, actually produce at an industrial measure. Is there an overview here? Is the industry quite clear? Who are we talking about when we talk about the trade and the industry? What kind of companies are we actually talking about? Well, in Germany we have around 6,500 window-producing companies with all different kinds of frame materials, wood, metal, plastics. About 90% of those are companies that have less than 20 employees. So you can say, just in an easy way, they produce in a craftsman field. That's the differentiation we were talking about beforehand. Well, of course, there's always a question as a client. Do you notice the difference? Why, or maybe I should ask it differently, why should I buy a window that comes from a craftsman and not from the industry? Well, on the one hand, the craftsman company can produce just as good a window as the industry, if you look at the demands of the statistics and so on. And of course, the craftsman is very close to the client, very personal, good relationship to the client, and of course can offer a fantastic product. Whether it all has a good future, that is something we're going to be discussing now. Thank you very much till now that we had a little insight into the topic. And please come with me, join me here at the panel here. We've got many guests here today, and I'm happy to welcome them.
Ja, hier ist sie.
Here it is, the group in Hall 16 at the LIGNA 2013. I'm very happy that we have a female visitor here as well. A very exciting round I'm looking forward to here. And I would like to introduce our round to you. I would like to start with you, Gaby Schoofs, from Schoofs Wood Processing and Window Production, who took over her father's company. So we're really looking forward to hearing from what you have to say us, because you're just on the way to industrial production. What kind of experiences you've had there. Then Frank Döpfner Windows, specialist for wood and wood aluminium windows. There are about 50,000 produced per year. That is quite a lot. Kemner from the group of the Carpentry Association. So we'd like to hear your information from your point of view, and the point of view of the industry. Martin Kenntner is leader of application sciences or window technology and doors with Leitz. I probably don't have to say much about Leitz. Leitz is a leading producer of tools for processing wood. So we're really looking forward to an exciting round here. I would like to start here, before we actually start discussing, ask a question. Frau Schoofs, I already said you are on the way to industrial production, 35 employees. You have bought a big plant, a big system. You took this step. Why? Does it make sense? Yes, well, from today's point of view, I can definitely say it does make sense. In 2008, we observed the market and noticed that where we were at the time, we were not able to supply the market. There were new regulations. We had to make a decision. And the decision was, shall we carry on working as craftsmen as in the past, or should we go the step into industrial production? We got in touch with the leading companies Weinig and Leitz, had long talks with them, and then invested in very new window systems. Mr. Döpfner, we just heard that is a way that is not completely safe. There are a few insecurities there. How do you see it? In your opinion, is there a chance for craftsman business in the future? Can they actually live up to the demands of today? Well, if you look at the craftsman today as the more or less the peddling salesman for the business, for windows, for other pieces of furniture, cupboards and so on, crafts on site, then for specialization in the window area, it's very difficult to imagine that the craftsman can actually meet the very high standards and requirements that a window needs to fulfill today. The carpenters have to dare to take the step to specialize, and then we have a good chance to prepare for the 21st century. We do stem ourselves from a tradition where in the year 1980 we focused on the production of wood windows, and resulting from that we had an organized selling system, distribution system for cross-regional supplies to customers. Mr. Kenntner, you just said you were nodding a little bit. What is your point of view from the industry to the craftsman's trade? Well, it is definitely necessary for both sizes and kinds to look into the production of windows and doors. The one area can position itself widely on the market. Industrial production is more focused on larger sizes, but also in specialization for the production itself. For both existed forever, and I'm sure they will also exist forever. Mr. Kemner, with the group, you are very close to these companies. You hear their worries that they have for the future. What are they? Well, as the group, as a consultant, I am responsible for our members in Lower Saxony and Bremen, and there many have still not yet taken this step, as Ms. Schoofs has done. So the thoughts, should I, can I, must I invest in new machines because of the energy regulations have changed and demand that. This is where I start as a consultant to show ways that small companies and window building companies, how they can go in a direction and to find a market, and also then, of course, to get the tools and machines necessary for that. We already sort of mentioned that the requirements seem to be very important. I would like to hand over to you, Mr. Graffé. What kind of prerequisites are there? Well, I would like to start with Mr. Kemner. Mr. Kemner, if you look at the numbers of the window producing companies in the last years, they've gone down greatly. The companies have given up. They have taken a step to assembly. What has happened? Well, there is a very clear downgrade in this, not only in window production, but also a procedure ever since the end of the war has been proceeding. So there are less and less craftsman companies around, and also with the new regulation of the craftsman regulations, these assembly companies, many of those who did actually give up window production are still buying the product for exactly Mr. Döpfner or Ms. Schoofs, or are practicing a combination of buying and own production. That is often something that can be seen in the wooden house front doors. These are made in the individual sites, but windows made out of other materials are bought in. Ms. Schoofs, this is your direction, that colleagues, smaller carpenters do actually buy your products more and more, and So you're more a dealer? Yes, we actually came from the private clients sector and took the step into industrial production, into new products, and found out that more and more carpentries were getting in touch with us, and we found that this really was the way for us to have this way as a distributor, as a seller. If we look at your size of company and Mr. Döpfner's company size, 35 employees, 80 with Mr. Döpfner, and the investment that is necessary for a technical plant to have it update, and you put that into relation, then I could imagine in your companies that is worth it. I was like, what does that look like for a normal company with 10 employees? Is that realistic to be able to buy and finance the technical equipment necessary? Well, it is definitely possible. The economic possibility, of course, has to do with how much it is used. If I install a system, then of course it must be worked 3 to 5 days a week. If I then do not have enough in the way of produce for windows, then of course the craftsman has to think, how can I use this system together with other products or for other products, or standard classic carpenter products, stairs, boards and things like that. And now there's a production technology available that enables this flexibility, but I do then need specialists or specialization. I need people who know a lot about window production. I need people who know things about stair building, and I need people who know furniture production. So I need a sales structure. And then, of course, it is definitely possible to have these expensive systems in a small craftsman's business and to use them economically. Yes, but that is not really imaginable, that a small company could work in different shifts, as it is with, for example, Mr. Döpfner. Well, at the moment we're a 2 or 3 shift operation, but that of course needs the next organizational step. It costs money. And if I look back, I lead the company together with my brother. In 1990 we invested a lot, about 10 million. And then in 2008 another approximately 10 million. That is a sum that requires a certain sales channel. And next to the visible fixed costs and the calculated costs, Weinig system, Homag system, spraying, coating systems, transport ways, we of course have the sales channel, and that is also a cost factor. And know about the 20 million, you need a very good customer management system. That's the so-called controlling, customer controlling. And that with us is almost at the top position, but also supplier controlling, tight contact and partnership with the suppliers and the clients. That all has to be in a balance, and that is something that the one or other company, small company, may not actually appreciate or not realize, and so there can be bumps and imbalances there. I would like to talk about the quality aspect again, separately here. Mr. Kemner, in your experience, if companies decide not to produce windows any longer but to buy them, are the reasons really the investment that are too high for them, or what are the reasons? Are they worried that the quality requirements wouldn't be fulfilled any longer, or that the legal implications could be there? I think it's the combination of several different reasons that in the end lead to the production being given up, but that is not all. That is also not in our interest, not in the interest of the association group here, because know-how, expertise is lost in these companies. But if it's the case, then it normally is just sort of the last straw that broke the back. Basically, it can save. It can be the energy saving regulation with thicker profiles that are now necessary. It could be the labeling with the certification and documents that are needed and the administration processes that lie behind that. And it can also, of course, be the financial requirements, the finances that are just not there. The money is not there to go the next step, to have another 100,000, 200,000 euros to be invested. So it's often a combination of several reasons here. If I may, in the past, in the last few months, I was at different carpentry companies and looked at them, looked at their structures, their processes, and there was something I noticed there. There's an investment jam there, I should say. If you're not really on site there and constantly investing, then you lose out. You miss the train, more or less. In the last century, in the 20th century, there was a move from the window systems to the plastics materials, and we have a lot of PVC here. It's very, very strong still, even now. And that could have led to the small businesses letting away the expertise or letting it go to waste. Maybe they had slight thumb screws on, and the individuality craftsmen really have a very good value here. But maybe that opinion was blocked a bit by different boards. And maybe we just focus too much on materials that in these investment jam, that led to this investment jam.
Ja, in diesen Investitionsstau für viele Tischlerbetriebe gekommen sind. Deckt sich das mit Ihren Erfahrungen?
Is that the same with your experience, Mr. Kemner? Mr. Döpfner, I do in a way agree with you. I do also see the investment jam here. For many years, there was no investment in surface and management technologies and in sales, and the new orientation was not taken into consideration. But because of the changing in the standards, the requirements, and there are so many chances in the trade to realize new things and realize potentials on the market. So it would be a pity if this current investment jam couldn't be solved then. There are mediums, there are ideas, there are many options, and a lot has already successfully been implemented. Yes, the variety of the window systems that are available nowadays is indeed very big and fascinating, and it has led to a bit of a, in the last few years, in the last 20, 30 years, there has been a bit of a unification, or there has been an equalization, so that producers have not had the chance to invest regularly. So that is maybe also why there's this investment jam that is visible. And I'm trying now to approach the small businesses to give them new ideas, to peel away from the old standard windows and ideas, and to develop and offer new products, completely new products, and open new products and new markets for themselves. That, of course, also entails a big risk, or a slight risk anyway, to have ideas and to use ideas that one does not have much experience with. Yes, of course, there's a risk there, and of course you also need expertise. You need a lot of skill, you need a lot of knowledge and know-how. It starts with the choice of materials, knowing that certain kinds of woods are maybe not ideal for window production. These are things that a lot of people have to get used to again. And that's something that's important for the group and also for the Institute. We are trying to make sure that this expertise, this knowledge is passed on again and can come back up into the open. From your range, what do you offer? Do you offer special window solutions that make you special on the market, Ms. Schroben? Well, the specialty with us are the special constructions, round, slanted, any special features and attributes. But we're not different from company Döpfner, for example, which can also customize to any requirements and demands. But I think specialization is what is so important. I think the small companies and businesses will find it difficult because they also deal with other things on the side, and they can't go so much into detail. It's something that we experience experience again and again when we have requests from other small companies, but we can then speak at eye level with these people and can constructively find new solutions for them. But that is something that we can see that the carpenters who do everything just cannot specialize as much, and they don't have this expertise. Yes, but then on the other hand, you could argue that if you have the carpenter as a reseller, he still needs to have the know-how, he has to have the expertise, he needs to know the system, otherwise he cannot survive in the market, and you need to transport that to the carpenter and he has to transport it to the client. Yes, but that is only possible if you continue work on it, when there are trainings, when you deal with it constantly and then pass that on as well. That is the way of the selling system to actually deal with these issues as well. I would like to ask a provoking question. Prices. Of course, you could say that that industrial production or industrially produced windows, because of the lean management and production, is less expensive. But then if I have a dealer in between, of course, the product for the end client could even be more expensive. Or Mr. Kemner, how do you see that? Is the price for the craftsman the problem for the craftsman? Is that why the craftsman cannot stay alive on the market? Well, if you look at the prices of all participants, and if they're all calculated in the same way, then the craftsman really does also have a chance to survive, because you already said industrial producer has a problem of selling, distribution, logistics, and the big organization that also eats a lot of money. What is vital is how much the machines are actually used. If the craftsman uses his machines completely and effectively, then he can really have quite a good competitive stand. But if the industrial producer has invested a lot of money and the machine is not used to its full extent, then of course it's a higher price then. May I join in here again? We, on the one hand, sell to private clients, but also to resellers. And if we deal with a reseller, we do not have any kind of consultant. We do not have to measure. We do not have to have any other kinds of negotiation. So we calculate our prices quite differently than for the direct client. And that, of course, is the span where the reseller can actually profit from it. Well, if I may say something about window production, I know this discussion since I was an apprentice. I come from a family company here. It was said that the window prices are falling constantly. It's getting worse and worse. I fear that the trade has missed out the chance for many years to emphasize the absolutely fantastic attributes of the product to the outside, to the clients. What is normally only is compared is what's at the right-hand bottom, the numbers, the amounts, but you don't talk about, or people don't talk about the performance, the higher value. That is something that is normally talked about with the end client. There are so many options to come away from standard windows and to deliver individual windows, but not via sales distribution, but to have a higher value with what the client actually then has on his wall. There is this saying, where there's a market, there's a product. And in the past, I would say 30, 40 years, the status for the end consumer, windows were at a very low level. We are influenced strongly by the CBIT, by the computer world, and windows are not important. And we had the first push here with the energy, the change in energy and the regulations. Fukushima also played its part here for people to start rethinking. And with this broad spectrum in the public media, the energetic situation here, renewable energies, we're now using windows, or people are putting windows into a different light, looking at it from a different angle. And industrial production with windows, that was definitely on the PVC area. And that was influenced for 30, 40 years by that very much. But now the window is becoming more and more important, and so there's a product also now developing here. And now at last we have the chance to market this product sensibly. And at the end of a marketing campaign, of course, there's a price. At the end of a product is identified by that. Maybe a question in between. You were talking about the past, now let's look into the future, and I'd like to go in this direction. Solutions or options for solutions, what do you think could be possible? There's a big range here. Yes, Mr. Kenntner certainly had a good idea. The company Leitz is supporting the companies with own window systems. Maybe you can say something there. What does that look like? Yes, well, next to all individualism, we have standard window solutions. For example, for the European market, a window system that we developed ourselves. It was checked, it's been certified, and it's integrated in a certification platform so that window builders are already almost there for the certification themselves. And the groups, Mr. Kemner, are supporting the carpenters from your company? Yes, from the association side, there are extensive test certificates for the CE certification. And on the other hand, via our institute, we have a guideline. We have developed a guideline, Vademecum wood window building, published by the IBAG, with hints for the small window builders that he can fulfill the newest energetic requirements fairly easily. But the economical success for the companies, even for the small companies, is something that is not going to be decided by the production technology or the tools, but it will be decided by the sales. As Mr. Döpfner already said, what is decisive is that the craftsman must learn to sell his window, either made by himself or bought in, and to find the markets and also have a sensible price for it. That is decisive for the success of the business. Production technology should go slightly into the background, of course, but at the trade fair here, this is the big topic. But in consulting, I must make this point that, of course, the products have to be sold first, and then I have to think about how I produce them. Can a smaller company actually be heard on the market? Can it manage to be heard on the market? The small company makes its market itself. It operates in a certain circumference, and there it has a direct contact to the client. And a survey that we had done from the group, that this personal contact and consulting is very important for buying, or the decision to buy by the client. That is where the small company has its chance to sell, and he has to use this chance.
Alle Chancen, alle Möglichkeiten, die jetzt verkäuferisch eben auch nutzen muss.
Mr. Döpfner, what marketing support do you offer for the companies that buy from you? How do you help them? Well, we decided a long time ago on a partner system. We observe, first of all, I would call it the regional market, where we are working in Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg. The selling power, that's what we're looking at. We have fixed fuel sellers who go to the clients and then decide on site, is this company capable of using our systems professionally with a market presence? Are they able to use these? Yes, so you're already having a strategic decision beforehand before you actually make a partnership with a small company. Yes, we do set as a prerequisite that we have trainings in-house, a product and ecology training, mounting maintenance, because it's 40% for the end client here. But of course the end client is interested in the end product, the connection with the wall. So we focus on trainings, and without these trainings our partner company does not have the possibility and the option to sell our products. Furthermore, we are also working on new developments. CE certification is not a topic for us. We have our own system building here in in-house. We test and develop ourselves, and that is from a craftsman's orientation, but and partly sticking to something in the 20th century where we were very oriented towards PVC, and then in 2008 we made the investment of several million. That is a strategic direction and an economic direction that we went for, and that of course is individual. This is not something we can tell the others to do or not. And well, what about individualization then? What can a small company, especially even 15 or 20 people employed in a company that's still a fairly small company, how can that make itself something special? What kind of niches are there? Could it be protection of old buildings or other things? Do you have an idea, Ms. Schoofs? Yes, well, we found in different contacts, different conversations, that there are different specializations that have taken place. For example, protecting old buildings, energetically, building windows that are energetically sensible, but trying to find, for example, windows that correspond to the protection of old building standards, so without a rain gutter and things like that. Windows with a 4mm fold, windows that we used to know. This combination, managing to fulfill these prerequisites, and then the other side, passive house windows, but also to push these further forward. And there are areas that you can specialize in. If I may add 100% with you, we also find that especially in warmth insulation, renovation of old buildings and design, that is also something very important. A window is not only now a transparent opening in the wall to open and shut, but is also getting more and more a design component. And also then an emotionalization, yes, very important, yes. So it's got to do with lifestyle, yes. So there are interesting aspects here that we have here at the stand, be it integral window systems. There's a big range here, and we're very happy to find that is only starting to develop now. It's really going forward now. Something's happening. But also, I'm sure it's a topic wood that is coming back, and the sort of the feel-good character. Wood and aluminium, Mr. Döpfner, especially. Yes, wood, aluminium. Of course, you mustn't forget the price. Of course, we wood people, I would say for the market, we have created the pyramid right at the top. But it's supposed to be a window. There should be a window available for the masses, for the medium classes, more or less. We have to have systems that are rationally producible. And an average normal house, and a person with a normal house, a person with a normal income can actually afford this kind of window. And with the topic wood and sustainability and feel-good lifestyle, there now is the market, and so products develop from that, and directions on the market develop, and that's how things come up. Yes, we are accompanying these marketing attempts by the industry and the trade in the last years, and also the trend, for example, for economic and ecological living, for example, also airing with the windows, sound protection, which is also very important, and for feeling good, for good sleep. And on the other hand, we're working with the Office for the Protection Against Crime, together with the craftsmen, on the topics of safety against burglary, both in systems that can be applied to the windows later on, but also in the production of new windows, windows that are tested with burglary-safe attributes. That is where the emotions, safety, health, feel good, that's all very very important there, and we offer our companies that belong to the group these marketing ideas, give them these to have them available. Now, surface technology and so on, in the 80s and 90s, the wooden window became a bit unpopular with the surface here, and that was something that promoted the material PVC, but now, of course, we have suppliers on the market that are very far in surface technology and have transparent surfaces for wooden window production with a certain guarantee of sustainability, and that's what we can evoke trust with, and that's what got lost a bit in the 80s and 90s. This generation, that's a bit further back now, and it's been forgotten a little bit, and then all of a sudden there's a revival, something new that's actually already been quite old. And you say, every 40 years approximately there's a change in the fashion, and it switches a bit, and I think that's a phase we're in just now again. I think for many small businesses, many carpenters, there is now an option, but of course it requires economic and entrepreneurial courage and foresightedness. And that, of course, is something that the companies have to have themselves. Yes, but that sounds very positive, actually, to look into the future. That's what I took away from this conversation here. I would like to ask you in the end here again to say how you see the future for the next years, for the future. Do you share this optimism?
Viele Sachen sind angesprochen worden. Teilen Sie diesen Optimismus?
Well, I think with the material wood, we basically are very privileged. We have a great material. It fits the zeitgeist. It's a material with which we have all chances to gain points with the clients. And what we sometimes forget here in the expert round is the fact that the client doesn't really mind so much whether the machine is created or produced on a big or a small machine. All he wants is a good product at a good price. We want premium products at top quality, top consultants, top service, not just in product quality. And that's something that a small company, especially within a group, can deal with in the same way as a big company. But it does require a strategic decision. Where am I wanting to go? What is my strength? What is my niche? What can I do? Am I a good seller? And I think we have lots of chances there. So, thinking and dealing here is something that's very much in the focus, Mr. Schoofs. Gentlemen, thank you very much for this exciting round here. I've learned a lot here, and this optimism from this group, I think that's fantastic, and that is what a trade fair like the LIGNA is there for. I hope you will come by. And there are lots of topics here at the LIGNA 2013 that we will be discussing and presenting, and if you don't manage to come by, we are the window for you. We inform you here from LIGNA TV and throughout the whole world on all the highlights, focuses and new trends. Thank you for your interest, for your attention, and I hope you have a successful trade fair day.